Hey guys, and welcome to our review of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. I'm your host, Cinder Blaze, and today we have...
Makotoa.
Alright, let's jump into this episode, and for the first time in a long time, I can say that this episode was actually just, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Animation and whatever happened in the episode plot-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I feel like we should just start off with, I guess, the only thing that happened, the Shinki fight. The animation for that fight was actually beautiful.
Good.
Just from the get-go, when he kind of lifts up those giant ass fists and he just hovers them in front of himself, you just see the lightning crackling and he just shoots them. I was like, oh shit, they have to dodge that now.
That was really cool, and it does make it like a differentiation between Gaara's techniques and Shinki's, because this is obviously like some kind of electrical based jutsu, right? It was like, where did you find a kid who could use electromagnetism like this? You know? It's like, the true successor.
It's like, I don't want to tell him I just found him in the desert.
Yeah.
Let's just not answer this question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love how this character reminded me of like Chunin exam Neji.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Yes, all during the fight, he was just like, it's useless, or
God.
More or less, he's like, I'm just here to show the real power level between us, like for the Leaf Village to understand, for my father Gaara to understand. He overestimates you, and not anymore,
Yeah,
he got the salt.
Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure if it's entirely salt, because we haven't gotten a backstory to see his whole reactions toward the Leaf. But knowing Gaara, he talks up Naruto a lot. Whenever he has these casual interactions with other characters, he's just like, Naruto's my best friend. Those two barely meet, but he's just like, that dude's my best friend for sure.
Yeah.
So that probably got on his nerves. Maybe, we don't know that. But he's really realistic when it comes to a person's strength as a shinobi. Maybe when it might be related to stuff that we haven't gotten yet from his backstory, prior to when he got adopted by Gaara. Maybe he was part of some evil organization where things were a lot more brutal and a lot more real. So him kind of just seeing the hidden Leaf just kind of just be so lackluster. Because
and who says that the sand is currently as sort of this peacetime feel where everyone's just having fun and it's goody two I don't know if it's goody two what I'm saying, but it's maybe over in the Sand Village people are still serious about being a ninja.
Yeah, who knows. I actually really want to visit the Sand Village relatively soon. Please get Chikadai on that freaking mission if they do go, because we've gotten a little bit we have some hints of the Hidden Mist Village and some of the kind of not riots but the small rebellions that are occurring in that village as well. So maybe there's part of that in every village. Maybe they all come together and form a new Akatsuki. Who knows? I hope it's not going to be as basic as that, but yeah, it's really interesting to see how people from other village kind of react to this, and that's one point I really liked that they kind of drove home a little bit in this fight, where Shiki was kind of talking down on Naruto a little bit, just shit, he knows that Naruto's the shit, he knows he's as strong as he is, and it's because he's that dang strong, everyone else underneath him is kind of incompetent because they can rely on Naruto so much. Just you know what?
Right.
Yeah, he when they actually did fight in the giant ass ninja war, he was carrying every single person directly.
He carried hard. He carried really hard.
So, to an extent, for I like his outside perspective on Leaf Village. That was really refreshing to see in the series.
It was. It's good to see this disdain for this why am I saying so much? This disdain for the status quo as the world is right now. And it's kind of reminiscent a little bit of what is the rock hammer dude? Can't remember his name.
Iwabe.
Iwabe. It had a little bit of twinge of that, where it's like, you guys are soft, and he was kind of living in the past where the ninja war was happening and was kind of idolizing that. And in this case, it just feels like Shinki is he has no fondness for weakness. He's still living in an era where power is everything, in a sense,
Yeah. And
you're only respectable if you have strength.
Yeah. And like I also like Gaara as well. Like his commentary for this fight, just like in the previous matches, were just kind of spot on. Like he talked as much as he needed to. He didn't really dwell on him. Despite, I'm pretty sure everyone would be fine with Gaara just having half the episode because everyone just loves that guy unanimously. But, you know,
I will say there was a little bit of a twinge of like irritation from me when every single side character in the audience had to say something. Like that was something that you mentioned, like I think in the last episode or whatever, or a previous episode of the show, but it got to me this episode where like they're in the middle of the fight, and I get that like they want to really make this more than just any old fight. This is character battles and even ideal battles, right?
Yeah.
But like, why do we need every other character like outside of the group right now who have lost being like, yeah, Boruto's gonna win, we're depending on him, if anyone can do it, it's Boruto or Sarada, Boruto's got our back, yeah, Boruto, oh my gosh, shut up, just like watch and stop being naive, because you're not fooling anyone. Who's fooled by this? I swear, even the people who haven't seen the movie are, well, then again, we didn't even get this far in the movie, but like nobody's fooled by this really, except for these characters, and it just makes me feel a little bit lesser of them as a result. But
yeah, like kind of like looking at the current power scalings, like what makes you think that Boruto can actually handle this dude? However, the only reason I'm fine with it is just because it reminded us about the bond that Boruto has with his classmates, and that was something we needed to see beforehand, before he actually kind of like has the flashbacks himself and remembers all the bonds he's had, and he's like, don't talk down on the bonds I had, and then he kind of just like goes bananas with the purple lightning. So they only did it once. If they'd kept on doing it, I would have been a little bit pissed off, but I think everyone just got like a little bit of dialogue, and that's it. So
how do you feel about Sarada this episode?
Yeah, I was somewhat disappointed because when you kind of compare her to like the previous generation, like that's something you kind of have to do with like all the kids. I feel like she's like in every way like an inferior Sasuke, except that she utilizes genjutsu to some extent, which she didn't do in this fight. But aside from like that one lightning ball technique, which I mean it did look cool when Boruto was like doing the little combination technique.
I did like that.
Like, aside from that,
style at this level is no match, like, oh.
Yeah, for real though, they didn't look that strong either. I'm like, is that even gonna cut through iron and sand?
Yeah.
It's like, well, good luck with that. Fortunately, it didn't work, but towards the latter stages of the fight, I mean, Sarada was getting bodied pretty hard. Like, I mean, I guess like Shinki was focusing her at first because she is like the Uchiha clan person. You can't really underestimate them at any point. But like when she kind of gets like trapped, and she had absolutely no outs to that, and just had to have Boruto just somewhat like pry like one finger enough so she could probably break through, even though she's the one with the super strength. So I'm just kind of like,
yeah, I was waiting for her to do like one of those Shandara punches on the sand, and I didn't get it, but it's all right. I understood we needed to get Boruto versus Shinki.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way that she did go out was pretty cool. It was like, to me, he suddenly sprouts the wings, and he's like, this will end you, and just, oh, she had no chance at that point. She doesn't have anything. She doesn't have Susanoo to protect her, right?
Yeah. Like that scream she did right before she started like running towards him, I was like, that actually like scared me a little bit. I was like, oh shoot, she's gonna do something, and then just see like the iron sand on her back. I'm just like, oh god. And then I'm like, where's Boruto? Are you gonna help her? No. And then when she just jumps, all the feathers just they don't eviscerate her. Like I'm pretty sure he went easy and just kind of like use them as like blunt attacks,
Yeah, because
not like
it
piercing.
didn't show any blood, but then again, this could just be because this is supposed to be like the kid-friendlier version of the show, apparently, because we haven't seen anything really that bad. Like,
Yeah.
Naruto is a lot darker. We have seen nothing like that in this show. I feel like this one has been put on a earlier time slot and catered to the children.
Yeah, it's more like I feel like the ninja techniques are more magical and like they only sustain magical damage and a few cuts and bruises like anywhere. Other than that, they're just kind of like, you know, the tankiest little kids ever.
Yeah, so shall we get to the moment of truth?
Yeah,
Because it is
like literally.
That is it, man. That is it. We see him use the purple lightning technique, and he screams it out too. So it's very evident by the color and his declaration that this is purple lightning.
Yeah,
The strongest variety of lightning, right?
Yeah, and the only thing that kind of like I would have wished in that scene was for Kashi to react after it, but during when it happened and like you just kind of see him kind of defy gravity for like way too long, honestly.
Yeah, way too long. Way too long.
That was a very satisfying punch he got onto Shinki. Like, oh man, just bolts right through his giant like protection, just knocks him right out of the iron sand. Just like yes, it's not like he was like a total villain that I was just like, yeah, just get him. But like I was rooting for Boruto in that slight moment when
don't underestimate it. Yeah. Ooh. And like when he has the flashback to all of his friends and stuff, it made me sympathize with them a whole lot more than I did in the movie, for sure. Because at this point, like, yeah, now you've kind of painted yourself in the corner. Everyone is literally depending on you, and this guy is like calling you out, as a weakling, and calling the entire Leaf Village out as a weakling.
Yeah.
So it was just like it was village grudge match at this point.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people, when they kind of like saw that the lightning just kind of like stay there for like a long ass time, I was kind of thinking in my head like maybe he can like attempt to do the Rasengan in that moment, like that's what I was kind of like looking forward to. But when he's getting like all the flashbacks about like what kind of technique he could do, he's like Sasuke was telling him like you'll be able to use much stronger lightning techniques. I'm like, is he gonna do like a lightning Rasen Shuriken right now? I want to see that so bad, but
I don't have time to wait for that. Ooh. And then he uses the cheats. And then, like, oh, man. Obviously Naruto comes down, and this is the scene straight from the movie at this point.
Yeah.
Where he grabs his arm, and what's the meaning of this? Oh, my gosh. And, like, as you were watching it all, they picked the right point to put the budget, because you saw the like slow progression of expressions on Boruto's face.
Yeah.
The minutia of it, and it hurt, and then it hurt even more when it wasn't just Naruto who was disappointed. Shikadai stands up and like, is this true? Did you do this during our match? It was just like, oh gosh. Oh, everybody was just like complete disappointment, complete shock.
Yeah.
And then I mean, like, other than like Mitsuki, who's just like, what'll you do now, Boruto? This is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like Sarada was just like, oh, Boruto. Like it felt like she had sympathy for him, but oh man, everybody. And they let it set, in the movie. I remember it just being like, wait a minute, nobody else got to like berate him. He just gets, off clean. Nobody has enough time to process it before the the freaking Katsuki, whatever, Otsutsuki clan attacks.
Yeah.
So it's just Naruto that berates him, and I don't feel like it's enough. He needs to feel worse about this. And then they did. They made him feel worse. And now I feel bad.
Yeah.
Because dang, it was good to see Boruto broken though. Because I've been sick of I'm going back to my, unpopular opinion. I really can't stand Boruto. I just can't. Like I like the show and, especially Sarada and Mitsuki and stuff, but Boruto has just been too overconfident and not enough retribution and not enough showed reality. I like the part when Kakashi came out and like taught him a lesson, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't long lasting really. And maybe that's just because this, he had to learn his real lesson in this movie plot because it had already pre-existed. So what, he can't learn the lesson twice as much. So here we are. It finally happens, and it feels bad because you feel bad for him, but it also feels good because it's like, all right, now this character has become in a position that is actually worse than where Naruto was.
No.
Naruto was just hated by his own village. This kid's hated by everyone. Like, every Kage knows.
I feel like it's a little bit different. Like, everyone's disappointed in Boruto. Like, he kind of was, like, in the limelight. Like, everyone was giving him, like, interviews and all that stuff, and he just kind of, like, dropped. Like, he had the biggest drop out of any character, I feel.
Yeah. He's like Sasuke. You didn't even know what it was like to have parents. You know? Boruto knows what it's like to be popular and then have it all taken away.
To an extent, it's just like that. But, like, everyone hated Naruto for, like, different reasons and probably darker reasons. Like, that was true hate. Where this one just like, man, look at that cheater. But like for them, it's like, look at that monster, and he just killed everyone.
This is just disappointment and disdain. It's like you have brought disgrace to your father's name.
Yeah.
And like the village hidden in the stone or whatever. The
Tsuchikage.
Tsuchikage. She's just like, man. Like she said some snark.
She's the snarkiest Hokage, or snarkiest Kage we've had for a while.
Good and deserved. And it was just like, ouch, man, Boruto, you have so much. Like, and that's what makes me happy, is because now I can root for this character. Now he really is the underdog. Now he has a lot to make up for and a lot to prove.
Yeah.
So hopefully it doesn't just factory reset just because he helps save the day by the end of this arc. Spoilers, I guess the bad guys don't destroy the world, right? But
or maybe they will, we don't know.
Maybe they will.
They might just take off 10% of the world and start their own journey that way. But like that entire scene, like I want to go back towards like the beginning when Naruto actually does kind of like catch on that Boruto's cheating. In the movie, it was against the Shikadai fight, and he just spawned like 100 shadow clones or something, like not 100, but he spawned a lot of that, and then he went right behind he went right next to Hinata and asked her to check his wrist.
Yeah.
But the second in this anime, he uses Kakashi's technique, and he didn't even like consult Hinata whatsoever. He just went straight down there. He's like, "You're cheating, dude."
Yeah, we skipped because I was waiting for it because they kept motioning back to Hinata, but they didn't. I guess I don't know, for whatever reason they didn't include that bit.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it was really necessary. Like, if you see someone use a Kage signature technique at that age, there's something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, everyone else could have been fooled because it's like they don't really know.
Tenten would have been fooled. Hell, like he could have been using like what style? Would have been like, damn, that's the Hokage's son for sure.
That's the Hokage's son. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like, and he could be using like Sage mode, and it'll take Rock Lee probably a year to actually disqualify him because he doesn't see what's happening. And like that kind of like slow breakdown from like Boruto's like expressions when he's like first like he's kind of like just like wide-eyed. He's like, oh my god, I'm caught. Like he just can't comprehend like what's kind of like happening at that point, and then like slowly when he just like everyone's like jeering him, and he just like he hears Shikadai, he's just like, oh my god.
And then Naruto takes off his headband, and he's like, "You're not worthy of being a ninja anymore. We'll talk later." And that part where Boruto like lashes out and says, "When have we ever talked? Maybe if you had talked to me, I wouldn't even be in this situation." And that actually felt earned. Like, I believe it.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Naruto is partly, at blame here for just neglecting his kid. He doesn't really understand how to be a parent, and he thinks that he can be the parent for the entire Leaf Village.
I mean, like, he has had no real examples growing up, so like he's not. It's hard for him, like, it's somewhat forgivable, but not really.
He still is at fault, right? The
Yeah.
fault still has some to do with him, and that is, it does make Boruto more endearing to me. I mean, I like, for a while I was just on the side of like, he's a cheater, he deserves to go to prison. No, like, it's just he has nothing to say for himself, and he was also manipulated by the other dude, and like the way that, like, what was it that he comes out and he's like, the perfect test subject for the perfect prodigy, Boruto. And he just rubs it in.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That felt bad too, because it's like, Boruto was sort of conned into thinking that this was good and okay.
Yeah, and I feel like it was a lot better for Katasuke to actually do that right there. Like, he might be possessed by the other dude, so it's not like totally out of his will, but if he wasn't like antagonistic to Boruto at that moment, like, I don't know what Boruto would kind of do afterwards. Like, maybe he would go back to Katasuke and just like, dude, they caught me, or like, and he's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna make you a ninja cyborg or some shit like that.
Come now, my child, come here, my son. And we shall.
And it might be like Sasuke round 2.
I'm sorry, that guy's face reminds me of that, like, Naruto movie villain that was like
the Stone of Yellow.
But
like,
good stuff.
And I'm actually really looking forward to next week's episode, because we're going to be seeing Naruto and probably the rest of the Kages dealing with the Otsuki clan people. I wonder what the youngest one would be doing, because he wasn't in the movie, so I'm really interested in like what kind of side role he will have in this whole thing.
Right.
The one that kind of like visited Gaara in the train, stabbed his chest, and just kind of walked out.
Walked out with his chest chakra. Good stuff. And then, obviously, finally, the Utsuki clan people show up, and Naruto gets the sixth sense for it, which I thought that, I don't know why, that effect really stood out to me, and it was like, whoa, tension.
Like when Naruto's sensing something and like it goes all dark for him, now we're scared, because if he can't handle it, no one can. All right, do you have any final thoughts for this episode, because we've kind of like talked it to death?
I can't imagine what they'll change from here on out. And because they might try and change something else, but I can't imagine what they would do, unless, like, then again, this is spoilers for those who haven't.
Like, maybe they can extend some fights later on, but I'm still happy with whatever they've done for the series. Like, at this point so far, I feel like they've improved on the movie. Like, sure, you might want like a more condensed version if you're just kind of like going through it, but like the emotional stuff they put in between, especially with the Shikadai fight, I feel like that whole thing that they introduced with like emotional depth that it brought to that fight was great. And and also kind of like introducing some of like the conflicting ideologies from like the sand and the leaf, like, it's not like completely like antagonistic, but life is clearly different in those two villages, and Shinki's kind of like one of the catalysts to kind of show that. So things are looking up for the series. And do you have any final thoughts from that? All right.
We're good.
Guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check our description for all of our social media links and all that other stuff. And if you want to talk to us more about this and many other anime, check our Discord link down below. Even though, we're probably like 25 minutes into this, and if you've stuck around for that long, well, make sure to give us 2 likes. Actually, no, that'll negate the first like. Give us 3 likes. And we'll catch you next time. Keep it juicy.
See you next time.
Alright. Boom. 25 minutes and 45 seconds. 6, 7, 8.
Wow.
Wow.
What have we done?
That's longer than the episode, by the way.
I know. Dang it. I wish we could have condensed it because I feel like something